Welcome back to my channel. I'm Amanda and this is my creative team layout for Scrap a Sketch. Today I'm going to use the painted garden printables, which are super cute. So I did use them on another page, which I'll show you here in a second. And this is the picture I am going to scrapbook today. It's me and my oldest at the butterfly gardens at the Calgary Zoo. And this was another picture of her on the same day, so they're going to be companion pages. And I'm going to take my inspiration from this one that I did for the triangle pieces. And I had cut these out originally for that circle layout that I just showed you, but I didn't have it going together very well, so yeah. So I cut it out with the framelits from this set from 49 Market and Sissix, and I really love them. So I'm going to speed this up because this took me quite a bit of time to do. And so I'm going to alternate between the butterflies and this floral. And I'm going to do it in the same kind of fashion so that there is a bit on the upper, or it goes up and down in the straight line. And I'm taking a look and making sure I have the same scale because I did print these double-sided with different scale. And so I'm using the larger of the butterfly and the smaller, well, maybe the smaller of both. Smaller of both, I think, on this one. When I look at it. So, and then just lining them up. I'm trying to make sure that the butterflies are mostly going in an upwards direction, or some of them are. And the flowers I would like to go in an upwards direction for the most part. So I'm just taking a look at how that's going to work. This is actually not too bad to line up, so yay. And I get down to this part and then I realize a couple of my butterfly ones aren't quite full, and this one's going to be upside down, but everything else would be upside down for those other flower pieces. So I'm just going to scoot these down a little bit and arrange it so that there's a little bit more blue between each of those triangles. Not a lot is needed, but I did want a little bit. I also wanted it down enough for this top one that I could do the same kind of stitched border that I did on my first one. So that was another one of my thought processes for moving that down. This is a 5x7 print, so I'm just going to double mat it in white and black cardstock because that's what I did on my first page that I did for this. So and I think I'm doing about 1/8 of an inch larger and then 1/4 of an inch larger for the black, just so that it gives about, I think it's about 1/8 of an inch around, which is similar to what I had for the other layout. So giving it some consistency between the two. And so I like that so far. I am thinking about what I'm going to do for my title. So I have these gold ones and I have these other gold ones. Yeah, those ones. And I'm going to use those ones. But first, I'm going to put this up on foam. And pull this in. And I decided it would be much easier to do the stitching first today. So I'm going to go do the stitching, and I did that upstairs, and so I came back down to my craft room, and that's all done. So there's around the outside and around each of those triangle pieces. And then I brought down a whole bunch of the cut off pieces that I cut off because those are going to add extra texture to my page. And I'm going to do I think this is fossilized amber. Yeah, that's what it is. And I'm going to splatter this before I put everything on today. And so that box makes it so much easier to not splatter on everything. I think I still got a few that went a little wild, but that's okay. And then I hit this with my heat gun, but I don't make you watch all of that. And then look at that sparkle. So there's quite a bit more sparkle on this one than there actually is on the companion page, but that's okay. So then my photo is definitely going to go right here, which I like the centerness of it, and this is where it's a little bit different than that ladybug page that I had before. I'll link that one and my companion page at the end of this, so if you want to check out either one of those, they will be linked at the on my last slide. And then I am going to go with this You and Me as my title. And these are the pieces I have left from this Painted Garden printables that are fussy cut out. I could always print off more of these. So, and I'm going to use some ones that are similar to what's in my other layout so that there's that consistency as well. So I was thinking upper and lower, but I didn't want to take and really cut off our heads. So I was finding that a little bit difficult. And so I'm just gonna continue with this for a minute, and then I'm like, no. So just kind of sort of putting things down where I think they might go. But as I've already said, it's going to be an nope. That's why I'm thinking about it, and here we go. I don't know why I did that with the one underneath. It doesn't stay there, but So, and then I was like, is this gonna work? And so it's gonna go from the bottom diagonal up and then down, because I can put, it doesn't really matter which one goes first for these two, so this will work, and it'll tie them together a bit more. So there is still going to be a small cluster on the bottom right side, but it's not going to be a big one anymore. And then there'll be a big cluster on the bottom left and a big cluster on the top right. So. And I'm going to use some adhesive foam. Printables are great because you can print them off at different sizes. You can print them off over and over again. So you can have a lot of things in your clusters. And for a lot of companies and Scrap-A-Sketch, you have them for as much as you want to use them, which is kind of cool. So like if you're doing a trip or a vacation or something like that, having a printable that you use for that event can really tie those pages together. I'm just putting my title down. I decided I'm going to nestle it underneath the photo here. Just going to fight with that U or that O for a little bit, but and then get some more flowers on. So the butterfly is going to go right up by that Y, and then getting this stuff on. So I do want some more color down here and to beef it up. Because I can print these off again, I'm just going to cut it in half and slide it underneath. I thought underneath like this, but it's going to go underneath the other one. Like so. And then that builds out that cluster just a bit more. And then on the butterfly, I'm going to put foam adhesive on both of the wings, and then I'll glue down the middle part of the body, and so that gives a lot of dimension to the page, which is awesome. Looks like they're kind of just hanging out there. In the photo, you can see that my daughter's holding her wrist. She was trying to get the butterfly to come and land on her. So there is a butterfly in the foliage that's just, you can kind of see a little bit of the orange of the butterfly. And I did put some thread around here to add some more texture. Now I'm going to work on this bottom right corner, and it's just going to get a flower and a butterfly and a leaf and some thread. So it ends up being pretty quick for this one. There's leftover thread. I'm just gonna nestle it so it looks like it's kind of landing on that E for the me. Then, because the butterflies are both facing the title, it kind of brings your eye into that title a little bit more. And now I'm going to work on that top cluster, and it's going to get a lot of flowers. So this half of the other one is going to come up here. And then this one is going to get some foam adhesive and overlap onto the photo because there's nothing really important up there. Just trying out some different things to see where I would like some stuff to go. So then I decided this yellow and blue one would be better, just because I have a lot of orange in my clusters already. So, and I wanted it to be a different butterfly than the other one. So down goes some more thread and the butterfly. And then back to these flowers. So that yellow one is going to go there and the purple one here. And then I am going to put some more leaves on. I did try those hearts, but I decided I didn't want them. And then I turned it sideways because it's just a little easier to get at this top where these last couple things need to go down. And then I am going to put a little bit of gold leaf bits on because on my other one there's some gold leaf bits. And I did think about doing a little bit of journaling on here, and I heed and I had, look at he and had, and I didn't actually put anything on here. I might go back and put the date on eventually, but it'll go chronologically into an album for her eventually. So I do not scrapbook chronologically, so they do go into albums chronologically, but I don't scrapbook chronologically, which is kind of a pain when you go to put things in albums, but it is what it is. Eventually it'll be fine. So here I'm putting some of those gold puffy leaf bits on, and they're not exactly the same as the other layout for the leaf bits, but it'll work. And they'll be far enough away that it's not a big deal that they're not quite the same, but it does give some of that consistency of having some of the gold bits in it. So And I did cut some of them down so that they'd fit better, and I could use more bits. So don't be afraid to change your embellishments so they work for you. And just taking a look, I have a little bit of thread left, so I'm going to put a little bit here, just add a little bit more texture, and I'm going to put a little bit more underneath this other butterfly. And then that gives a little bit more black, and it draws you into that title a little bit more too. Almost done. Tiny bit more thread there. I think that was all the thread I brought down for the leftovers instead of throwing them in the garbage. So, and then those are those two pages that will be together. And then this is close up. That sparkle is so nice. Just a little bit of close-up of my triangles and my stitching. I was not precious or careful when I was stitching them, and that's kind of what I was going for. You can see a little bit of that here too in the still shots. I was not very careful with my stitching. I just wanted to get some texture on that page. So, and there's laying it all together. And thank you for watching my video today. If you head over to Scrap a Sketch website and you use the discount code Amanda10, that gives you 10% off all printables, books, and stencils. And don't forget to like my video, subscribe if you would like to, and there's a couple other videos here to watch if you'd like. Have yourself a wonderful day.